Did you know that right now, somewhere on Earth, rocks are sliding across a desert floor all by themselves? And that's not even the craziest thing on this list. 15 mind-blowing events. Quick zoom on a map of the world. Today, we're diving deep into the most unbelievable, mind-bending, absolutely insane natural events that you won't believe are real. These phenomena break every rule of nature. We're talking about flames that burn, underwater lightning inside a volcano, and clouds that look like alien spaceships. I've scoured the entire globe to find the 15 most shocking natural events, and each one is more incredible than the last. I wanted to see these things for myself, but some of them are so rare or happen in such remote places that it's almost impossible, so instead I'm bringing them directly to you. We're going to explore everything from underwater icicles of death to trees that look like they've been painted with a rainbow. You might think you know how the world works, but after watching this video, you'll question everything. Get ready, because your mind is about to be completely blown. We're not just going to show you these phenomena, we're going to break down the science behind them, or in some cases, the complete lack of scientific explanation. This isn't just a list, it's a journey to the weirdest corners of our planet. Stick around because you won't want to miss a single one of these. Let's get into it. First up, we're heading to Death Valley, California, one of the hottest and driest places on Earth. And in this desolate landscape, something absolutely impossible is happening. Massive rocks, some weighing over 700 pounds. They are sliding across the flat desert floor, leaving long trails behind them in the dried mud. For decades, nobody knew how it was happening. There were no footprints, no signs of animals, nothing. It was a complete mystery, and scientists were totally stumped. How could a rock the size of a person just decide to go for a walk? Imagine setting up a camera for months, maybe even years, just hoping to catch one of these stones in the act. People thought it was aliens. People thought magnetic fields. People thought pranksters. But the real answer is even crazier. It turns out a very specific and rare combination of conditions has to be met. Rain forms a thin layer of water. That water then freezes overnight into a massive thin sheet of ice. The next day, as the sun melts the ice, it breaks into huge floating panels. A light wind, just 3 to 5 meters per second, is enough to start pushing those ice sheets. The ice panels then shove the rocks along the slippery mud underneath. It's a slow-motion geological ballet that almost no one has ever seen happen in person. Okay, for our next stop, we're going from a dry desert to a waterfall in New York. But this isn't just any waterfall. Behind the cascading water, inside a small cave, a flame is burning. And it has been burning for what could be hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. This is the Eternal Flame Falls in Chestnut Ridge Park. It looks like something straight out of a fantasy movie. You have water, which puts out fire, flowing directly over a fire that just refuses to be extinguished. It's one of the most surreal and contradictory sights in the entire natural world. So how is this possible? The flame is fueled by a natural gas seep, where gas from deep within the earth leaks out through cracks in the rock. What's absolutely baffling to geologists, though, is that the shale rock here isn't hot enough or old enough to produce this kind of gas. This means the gas is coming from somewhere else, much deeper, but nobody knows exactly how it gets here. And while the flame does occasionally go out, legend says that whoever relights it will be blessed with good fortune. It's a tiny, flickering miracle that defies simple explanation, burning day and night behind a veil of water. Imagine stepping outside on a freezing cold night, and instead of stars, the sky is filled with giant vertical beams of light shooting straight up into the heavens. No, it's not an alien invasion, you're witnessing light pillars. This happens in extremely cold Arctic regions when the air is perfectly still. Tiny, flat hexagonal ice crystals, usually too small to see, are suspended in the atmosphere. Close up, a single hexagonal ice crystal. They act like millions of tiny mirrors, all floating horizontally. Animation. Light from a ground source hits crystals. Ground sources, streetlights. Ground sources, car headlights. Because the crystals are aligned, they reflect the light upwards. The reflections create intense, narrow columns that can stretch for miles. It looks more dramatic and structured than the northern lights. The pillars take on the color of the light source: white, yellow, orange, red. A silent, glowing forest of light in the dead of night. It's a breathtaking spectacle that turns a simple cityscape into something completely otherworldly. And it only happens when the conditions are absolutely perfect. Now we're traveling all the way to the grasslands of Namibia in southern Africa to look at something that has puzzled scientists for decades: fairy circles. From the air, the landscape looks like it has a case of the chickenpox. It's covered in millions of perfectly circular, barren patches of sand, each one surrounded by a ring of tall grass. These circles can range from 7 to 50 feet in diameter, and they create this bizarre repeating polka dot pattern that stretches for over 1,000 miles along the desert's edge. For years, nobody could agree on what causes them. One popular theory is that they are the work of sand termites. The idea is that underground termite colonies eat the roots of the grass, creating the barren circle, and the ring of taller grass grows because of the moisture that collects at the edge of their underground world. Another leading theory suggests it's the plants themselves. In a place with so little water, plants self-organize to maximize their access to scarce resources. The barren patch becomes a reservoir, and the plants on the edge get all the water runoff, allowing them to thrive. It's a perfect example of nature creating incredible patterns in its fight for survival. Have you ever wanted to surf on a cloud? Well, in a remote part of northern Australia, daredevil glider pilots actually do it. Map: Gulf of Carpentaria location. This is the Morning Glory Cloud, one of the rarest and most spectacular cloud formations in the world. Imagine a massive, perfectly shaped tube of cloud, stretching for up to 600 miles long, rolling across the sky like a wave. These clouds can be over a mile high and travel at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. They typically appear in the early morning, hence the name. There's usually only one. Sometimes you can see up to 10 of them rolling in parallel lines. This phenomenon is so rare that the exact cause is still not fully understood, but it's believed to be the result of a collision between a humid sea breeze from the east and a dry breeze from the west. This collision creates a wave in the atmosphere that travels westward, and when the air is moist enough, a cloud forms on the leading edge of the wave. For glider pilots, it's the ultimate thrill. They can ride the updraft at the front of the cloud for hours, literally surfing it across the sky for hundreds of miles. It's an atmospheric wave that you can actually see and ride. Imagine walking along a beach at night, and with every step you take, the sand beneath your feet lights up with a brilliant blue glow. This isn't a special effect from a movie, this is the Sea of Stars. In places like the Maldives, the ocean itself becomes a light show. The waves that crash on the shore don't just foam, they sparkle and glow with an otherworldly blue light, turning the entire coastline into a galaxy of twinkling stars. The phenomenon is caused by a type of plankton called dinoflagellates. These microscopic organisms are bioluminescent, meaning they produce their own light as a defense mechanism. When they are disturbed, by a wave crashing, a boat moving through the water, or even your own feet in the sand, they emit a flash of blue light. The idea is to startle a predator, or even attract a bigger predator to eat the thing that's trying to eat them. When millions of these plankton are present in the water, the effect is absolutely mesmerizing. It's like swimming in liquid light, leaving a glowing trail behind you as you move through the water. It's nature's very own neon party. You're looking up at a mountain and you see it. A fleet of massive, smooth, lens-shaped objects hovering silently in the sky. Your first thought is, aliens, but what you're actually seeing are lenticular clouds. These are some of the weirdest and most commonly misidentified clouds, and honestly for good reason. They look exactly like flying saucers from a classic sci-fi movie. These clouds form at high altitudes, typically downwind of mountain ranges or other tall structures. They're completely stationary, even when the wind is howling around them. Here's how they're made. When fast-moving air is forced to go up and over a mountain, it can create a series of large-scale standing waves in the air, kind of like ripples in a river when water flows over a rock. If there's enough moisture in the air at the crest of these waves, it will condense to form a cloud. Because the air is constantly flowing through the cloud, it stays in the exact same spot. Sometimes, multiple clouds will stack on top of each other like a pile of pancakes, making the UFO illusion even more convincing. Next, we're heading to the frozen surface of Lake Abraham in Alberta, Canada, to witness a beautiful but dangerous phenomenon. Trapped beneath the crystal-clear ice, you can see stacks of white, frozen disks that look like otherworldly jellyfish, strange underwater stones. These are frozen methane bubbles. Bacteria on the lakebed decompose dead organic matter plants animals, releasing methane gas. In summer, bubbles rise to the surface and pop. But in winter it's different. Bubbles rise and get trapped by the freezing lake surface. As the ice thickens, more bubbles get captured below, forming vertical stacks frozen in time. But here's the crazy part. Methane is extremely flammable. Puncture the ice and light a match, escaping gas erupts into a pillar of fire. This next one is pure nightmare fuel, straight from the coldest parts of our planet. It's called a brinicle, but it's more famously known as the icicle of death. Imagine an icicle that forms underwater and grows downwards from the sea ice towards the ocean floor, but this isn't just frozen water. As it grows, it freezes everything it touches, creating a web of ice that entraps and kills any slow-moving sea creatures in its path, like starfish and sea urchins. It's a chillingly beautiful but utterly deadly force of nature. A brinicle forms when super salty, super cold water called brine leaks out of the sea ice. As if wildfires weren't terrifying enough, sometimes they can spawn something even more destructive. A fire whirl, or as it's more commonly known, a fire tornado. This is a vortex of flame and ash that spirals upwards from a large fire, creating a spinning column of pure destruction. These things can be massive, reaching over 100 feet in height. Core temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt steel.